365 Sports.
Welcome back to another week here on 365 Sports Mizzou. It's Monday. My name's Davis Wilson. This show presented by Rogue Media, as always. We're excited to be here, embarking on a new week of the show. And as this week comes, priorities remain the same. Basketball, it is stretched. We're coming down the stretch here for Mizzou basketball on the men's side. They went 1-1 last week, which at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the week, last week, I said if they went 1-1, I think you should feel pretty good. At least decent. And they did. But somehow I do think the ending of the week puts a huge damper on the week as a whole, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But that is what we're mostly going to be focusing on here for the next couple weeks. Missouri is squarely on the bubble still, and probably will remain that way for the next 4 weeks, or 3 weeks until Selection Sunday or whatever it is, 4 weeks. Baseball and softball got started. I'll talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to – obviously we'll talk about that, but basketball is just going to be the main thing, the importance. It's going to be what we focus on for sure. But I appreciate everybody for being here. It was Valentine's Day this weekend. Hopefully everybody had a nice weekend. Hopefully everyone's staying safe and everything. Let's get into basketball now. Missouri went 1-1 this week, last week, against Texas A&M, at Texas A&M and versus Texas. Now, like I said, at the beginning of the week, when I came on here and I did the podcast previewing the Texas A&M game, I said, if you can go 1-1 this week, I think it's a win. Obviously, you'd love to go 2-0, but you really just need to go 1-1. You cannot go winless this week against Texas and Texas A&M. Missouri went in to College Station, got a huge win, grinded out a big win against the Aggies. And at that point, everybody was kind of feeling pretty positive about Missouri. Joe Lenardi and bracketology on the 13th, which the morning of the 13th, which was Friday. So this was after the A&M game, before the Texas game. Joe Lenardi had Missouri as the last team in to make the tournament. Now that's likely going to change because Missouri lost to Texas. But all that to say, the A&M game was big, and it put Missouri in a position where, I guess in a small way, you can afford this Texas loss. And I'm not excusing the loss because the loss to Texas was terrible. But you went 1-1. CBS Sports still has Missouri as one of the last 4 teams in. I think that is something to note. Like, it's not over. Let's talk about this Texas game, though. Missouri lost 85-68. It was Valentine's Day. I watched this game. I actually missed the first half. I went back and rewatched it, though, but I had plans that day and watched the second half, which was evidently the bad half to watch. I turned it on. It was still pretty close. So this might actually be all my fault. I turned it on and things got out of control. Missouri was outscored 52-37 in the second half. They just didn't have it, and Texas did. Texas dominated them. Texas probably just punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament, assuming they don't completely fall apart. But that was a really impressive win. They come on the road to Missouri and run the Tigers out of their own building. They were led by Dalen Swain, who had 25 points. 18 of those came in the second half. So he kind of sparked that second half outburst for Texas. They were 6 of 17 from 3. Missouri only shot 10 threes. They made 4 of them, which feels very low. I don't think Missouri has shot that few threes in a long time. But for Missouri, it was Sean Phillips getting himself into some trouble, fouls, technicals, flagrants, whatever. I mean, it was a physical game, got chippy a little bit. The second half felt like it went on for 2 hours because there were a million reviews back to back, which kind of is terrible for the rhythm of the game. But I think the refereeing was pretty terrible on both sides. I don't think one team can claim that it was in any less of one, it was in their favor or less in their favor. I think it was equally pretty rough and kind of what made the game really choppy. T.O. Barrett came back down to earth after, a really great stretch of basketball. He scored 5 points on 2 of 9 shooting. Missouri really didn't have a ton of offense outside of Mark Mitchell and Jaden Stone. Those guys both scored 16 points. They led the way. Mark Mitchell missed 4 free throws, though, so that's always frustrating. But the rest of the starters were Sean Phillips with 5 points, T.O. Barrett with 5 points, Trent Pierce with 4 points, and off the bench you get Trent Burns with 2, Nicholas Randall with 5, Anthony Robinson with 11, his first double-digit scoring effort since Florida weeks ago, and Jacob Cruz with 4. Anthony Robinson had some nice stretches. For the first time in a long time, it felt like he had confidence to go make a play, and that was nice to see. That was kind of the only positive I can think of, but he also fouled out, and that's not really ideal. That's the same kind of issues he's had for a long time, is the fouling. But to be fair, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total players between the two teams that had at least 3 personal fouls. So the whistles were going big time. But Missouri loses. This was a 2-point game at halftime, 33-31. The Longhorns led. And then after half, Missouri's defense completely fell apart. Texas couldn't miss a shot. Every time Missouri needed a stop, they didn't get one, which sucks to watch as a fan. It's like, just get a stop and maybe you can cobble together like 2 possessions of scoring and 2 possessions of stops, and all of a sudden this is like a 4-point game, but Missouri couldn't do it. Like I said, Dalen Swain for Texas had 25, Jordan Pope had 15, Matas Vokintadis had 19, and then they had Nick Cody and Simeon Wilcher with 9 apiece off the bench. Missouri had been doing a really good job rebounding, but they were out-rebounded against Texas by 10, not even close. They're out-assisted. They turned the ball over more. They had 3 less fouls. That's the only kind of positive you can take away in terms of just comparing the 2 stats. Texas shot 48% from the field. Missouri shot 42% from the field. Texas shot 35% from 3 on 17 attempts. Missouri shot 40% from 3 on 10 attempts. Texas shot 91% from the free throw line. Missouri shot 68. They missed 12 free throws in this game. If you say you're like Texas and you miss 2 free throws or you shoot 95% or whatever, this is a ball game. This is just a much different game, and it's so frustrating that this is what this team's real weakness is. It's just free throws. It feels like I just hate watching a team that can't make free throws, because it was almost like late down the stretch when Missouri needed points and points and Texas to not score. Missouri was attacking the basket, which I think in theory is a great way to go about it. Attack the basket, get fouled, stop the clock, go to the free throw line. But when you can't make your free throws, that feels almost like a waste of a possession to go. Even if you get 1 point, I feel like that is not what you're needing when you're down by 12 points with 4 minutes left in the game and you need points. I'd almost rather you just start chucking some threes. Like with this team, when you're shooting 68% from the free throw line, which is just like totally ridiculous, that this is the problem that this Missouri team has. Wouldn't you rather just try to shoot threes instead. I get also that Texas was in foul trouble and you're trying to foul some of these guys out. And, putting all of that aside, though, when you have a team that doesn't make free throws, wouldn't you rather trying to get back in a game not going to the room and getting fouled? Maybe that's a terrible take, and it probably is. And obviously, the correct answer is go to the basket, get fouled, shoot your free throws. But I'm just saying, when you're watching this team miss free throw after free throw after free throw, I mean, at some point you're like, okay, I don't even want them to get fouled anymore. I'd rather them try to just score 2 points on their own. Like, it just is so frustrating to continue to watch this team struggle with the same stuff. And I get on Twitter, and I hate it when people are like, oh, Dennis Gates doesn't teach free throws. Like, to a certain extent, these guys are college basketball players. Division I Power 4 SEC college basketball players. And Dennis Gates can say, all right, let's shoot a bunch of free throws today in practice, whatever. He can do that. And I'm sure that would help to a degree. But at the end of the day, these guys have to make their free throws. These guys are college basketball players. And they're missing 12 free throws in a game they have to win at home. I do not understand. And on the flip side, you have Texas, who missed 2 out of their 23 attempts. Like, this team shoots free throws well. And it's one of the reasons they won this game. And it's one of the reasons they're going to go to the NCAA tournament. It just is. As a team, they shoot 75% from the free throw line, which doesn't really maybe feel like a huge number or anything. But when you reel off games like this where you shoot 95%, it feels very good. Missouri, compared to their 75%, Missouri shoots 67.4% from the free throw line. Are we serious? That is terrible. That's really bad. 67.4% from the free throw line is terrible. So I guess my whole rant here about people on Twitter being like, Dennis Gates needs to teach his team how to shoot free throws. Like, if that's your opinion, fine. But at the end of the day, like, these are basketball players. These are high level, like one of the highest levels in the world. They play on one of the highest levels in the world, and they can't make free throws. So I don't even know if that's – blame Dennis Gates if you want. Make him the scapegoat. I think I don't know how you can blame it on him when they're the ones at the line shooting the free throws. Now, if you want to blame him for Missouri giving up 52 points and not playing any defense in the second half, their offense going completely stale, for some reason they shot 10 threes, you can blame him for the X's and O's stuff, the game plan stuff, fine. But free throws, like, that is – I don't know how you can blame that on Dennis Gates. That was, I mean, it was just super frustrating to watch. I hated rewatching it because in the first half, you're like, okay, Missouri is down by 2. This is a game. And then, but for me, of course, I had watched the second half. I knew exactly what was going to happen. Missouri tried some zone stuff. They tried everything. It just didn't work. Texas was just better. They're just the better team. And it's really unfortunate because this was a bubble team before. These were 2 bubble teams who were kind of competing for a spot in the tournament. And Texas just looked 10 times better than Missouri did. And I think it's not crazy to say that could really affect this game in particular. I think it's not crazy to say that this could be one of those games that if you don't get in, you'll look at this game. I don't think you'll look at the Illinois game or the Kansas game or the Alabama game. I think they'll look at this game that you lost at home to a team that you lost at home by 17 points to a team that you can beat. You were favored by 2.5 points in this game, and you lost by 17 points at home in front of a sold-out crowd against another bubble team. I just think that this is the one you'll look at if Missouri can't get in. And just completely deflating because Missouri had won 3 in a row and vibes were high. Texas, they gut out such a gutsy win over Texas A&M, another bubble team on the road, which in contrast, if you do make the tournament, you look at that Texas A&M game and you go, that might be where they made the tournament right there. But it felt like that Texas A&M game could have been a turning point, and you could have rode that momentum and beat Texas and won 4 in a row. And now you're in a really good spot. But that's not the case. Missouri is now 17-8 overall. They are 7-5 in the SEC. They've got a tough road ahead of them. They have the second hardest remaining schedule in the country behind only number 1 Arizona. They play this week. They have 2 games. They host Vanderbilt, who is essentially a tournament lock. That game is on Wednesday. And then they will travel to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas, another virtual tournament lock. Arkansas is really good this year. They're 9-3 in SEC play. They travel to Fayetteville on, I guess that would be Saturday, the 21st. But they are winners of 3 straight. They've beaten Mississippi State, LSU, Auburn all in a row. They play Alabama on Wednesday before they take on Missouri. But these 2 games are huge. These are quad 1 opponents. Those are the 2 games this week. So it goes Vanderbilt on Wednesday, Arkansas on Saturday. They host Tennessee on the 24th, which I believe will be next Tuesday. They travel to Mississippi State on the 28th. They travel to Norman, Oklahoma on the 3rd of March, and then they host Arkansas on the 7th. So out of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games remaining, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are against, to me, tournament locks, like tournament teams. And that would be Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Arkansas again. Mississippi State and Oklahoma, both those games are on the road, which makes things pretty difficult. Missouri beat them both already this season, but obviously Oklahoma, that game was kind of a miracle. Missouri looked really good against Mississippi State, but definitely not any gimme games left. Really going to be a tough stretch, such a difficult schedule. This is why this Texas game would have been nice to have, because then you can afford to maybe drop one that you now otherwise can't afford to drop. You've got to, in these last 6 games, it feels like you've got to win. I don't even know. I mean, if you win 3 of them, you finish the season 20-11, and you finish the season 10-8 in SEC play. I don't know if that certainly puts you on the bubble. I don't know if that does it. If you win 4 games, if you win 4 of these games, I think you're feeling very good. 4 of the last 6, I think things are looking pretty good. 3 of the last 6, I think you're on the bubble still. So it's just going to be a really important stretch of tournament time here as we get closer to March. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to break down where different people see Missouri right now on the bubble, and then we'll talk a little bit of softball, baseball.
Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen during the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. I personally can't wait to see the matchup of the new kid, Drake May, and Sam Darnold, the veteran, in it to prove himself. New to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Agreed. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code SHOWPICK. That's code SHOWPICK to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-878-9777-N or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right. Here's where we are. Bracketology. Let's talk about it. CBS Sports updates it pretty much every day. They updated it this morning at 8:42 a.m. They still have Missouri as one of the last 4 teams in, along with TCU, Georgia, San Diego State. Georgia, Missouri have a head-to-head matchup that Missouri lost. So that, that's a bubble team that obviously that loss is going to hurt you a little bit. TCU just got a big win over Iowa State and Oklahoma State this week. They got 2 big wins this week. They are doing their best to climb their way into the field. They are one of the first 4 teams in, or last 4 teams in this bracketology, according to CBS Sports. What else can we say about it? On 3 Sports, they have a bracketologist now. He has Missouri as one of the first teams out, which I think probably is where a lot of these bracketologists and whatnot are going to. I think that's where a lot of these people are going to have Missouri, is right there in the first teams out, next teams out. I just think that's where they are right now, right there on the bubble. I mean, maybe on the wrong side of it, but they're there, and I don't know. Just was such a bad loss. Like, to lose is one thing, but to lose by 17 at home is just not at all what you want. TeamRankings.com is kind of a good stat thing for college sports. I use it for football a lot. Like, they're just good organized stats. I don't know how they know all this, but they have the bid percentage for every team. Missouri has a 39% chance, according to teamstats.com, to make the tournament. I don't know where they get that. I have no idea. But that is just where that is. So you can tell, I mean, that loss is definitely going to hurt Missouri because it was just bad. It was a bad loss. Missouri is 66th in net rankings. Remember, they climbed up to, they started at maybe 62. They climbed to 57, I want to say, after the A&M game, and now they're back to 66. So a damaging loss in that regard. Unfortunate. On KenPom, though, they are 54th, which, that's a lot better than 66, obviously. Right there in the bubble conversation. Torvik, I'll go look at Torvik rankings. I actually haven't seen those yet. Come on. Torvik has Missouri 49th. So I guess it just depends on where you're looking, but some people, like Net Rankings, have Missouri, have that loss to Texas really damaging to Missouri. Other places like KenPom and Torvik don't really regard that as a backbreaking loss quite like Net does. And it's important to remember Net is like only one of like 4 or 5 different ranking websites. So obviously the committee does use it, but it's not the end-all be-all. So 66 feels pretty bad, but I wouldn't, get down too much on it, just because they're still right there. They're still right there. Again, huge week for Missouri this week. Vanderbilt at Arkansas. Big game. 2 ranked opponents, 2 tournament teams. We'll see how that goes. All right, let's talk a little bit of softball, baseball. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's early season, everything. Softball started the season 4-7. They lost to open the season against Penn State. They lost to open the season against number 5 Oregon. They beat Liberty 13-2, which is nice. They beat BYU. They lost to South Alabama. They lost to UCF. They lost to North Carolina State. They lost to number 6 UCLA. They lost to Northwestern, and then they ended this last recent stretch. They ended pretty well this weekend. They beat number 23 FAU 2-0. They beat number 19 Duke 5-4. So they're 4-7. They play Houston next. They don't play another ranked game for a little bit, which will be nice because they started the season against a bunch of ranked teams. They're 4-7, though. Less than ideal start for the Tigers. On the softball diamond. Baseball, Missouri opened the season this weekend, had a series against Mount St. Mary's at Terry Park in Fort Myers, Fort Myers, Florida. It was a neutral site series. Missouri lost the opening night game to Mount St. Mary's 8-5, which, of course, for me, I saw that and I was like, yep, that's about right. We're right where I think we're going to be. I just wish, golly, don't even get me started on Mizzou baseball. I just wish it was more fun. College baseball is awesome. And nobody in Missouri knows that because Mizzou is such a joke of a program right now. But Missouri went up in that first game 3-0 and then blew it, lost 8-5. So frustrating there. They came back on Saturday and beat Mount St. Mary's 5-4, picking up its first win of the season. So there you go. The best players for Missouri in that game. Gehrig Goldbeck, the shortstop, had 2 RBI. Let's see. We had Trey Lawrence started the game. He only pitched 0.1 innings, though, kind of a committee approach from Missouri. They had Josh McDevitt finish the game with 5 innings played, 6 strikeouts for the win. And I think that earned him the win. So good for Josh. And then on Sunday, good grief, Missouri absolutely dominated this game. They won. I've never seen a baseball score like this. I mean, you don't see it often, obviously. Missouri won this game 34-3 against Mount St. Mary's. 34-3. They had 26 hits. They had 5 runs they had 0 runs in the first inning, 5 runs in the second, 13 runs in the third, 5 runs in the fourth, 2 runs in the fifth, 0 runs in the sixth, 2 runs in the seventh, 7 runs in the eighth. That equals 34 runs. Incredible. They actually went down 3-0 to start this game. In the top of the second, Mount St. Mary hit a 3-run home run. Missouri responds in the second to take a 5-3 lead, though. Stats, everybody played well here. Sam Parker, the pinch hitting designated hitter, had 4 RBIs. You had Isaiah Frost, the left fielder. He had 5 RBI. Chris Patterson, the third baseman, had 3. Jace Woida, the first baseman, had 8 RBI. Like, are you kidding me? That's insane. So quite a showing in that regard. Tyler Macon, the outfielder, was 6. I think he was 6 for 6 with. Was he? Let's see. 6 for 6 with 8 RBI. Just insane stuff. Pitching wise, Eli Skidmore got the start for Missouri. Pitched 1 inning. Nothing really happened. The man who got the win was Brady Kellenbrick, who pitched the last 5 innings of the game. Led up 3 earned runs, struck out 6, faced 18 batters. So there you go. Missouri 2-1 to start the season on the baseball field. They resume action on Tuesday tomorrow. They are at FAU. They play Florida Atlantic. I don't know much about Florida Atlantic baseball. What I can tell you is that they're 1-2 overall. They lost their opening weekend series to Notre Dame at home. Notre Dame beat them 2-1. So there you go. That's something to know. And then this weekend, they go back to Fort Myers, Florida to play another neutral site series against some school called New Haven, which admittedly I've never heard of. I don't know what New Haven is. They are the New Haven Chargers. I cannot tell. I cannot help you with exactly who they are. I don't know, but that is the situation. And then they play a midweek series, a 2-game stint, midweek Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. They open their home season against Arkansas Pine Bluff. So there you go. SEC play starts on March 13th at Taylor Stadium against Auburn, which will be a tough series. But that is your update for softball and baseball. Thanks for being here and joining me. I'm done. I think this is it for me. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Monday. I encourage everybody else to do the same. Appreciate you guys for listening. I'll be back soon with another episode, but in the meantime, enjoy yourselves and good luck out there.
365 Sports.